Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lantern Sports Preview Show. I'm your host, Curtis Grube. Alongside, as always, my co-host, Kevin Lapka. Kevin, what does the matchup look like for this Saturday?
Well, Curtis, it's a top 10 matchup. Number 9, Indiana, moved up one spot in that AP poll, going up against number 3, Ohio State in Columbus at the Shoe for a noon kickoff. Last year, score wasn't too close, though, 51-10, an Ohio State victory, wide margin of victory. Let's look at the stats, though, for these two teams from 2020 and the games that they played this year.
Yeah, so if we look at total yards per game, Ohio State with 511.3, that's good for 14th in the FBS. Indiana with 369, that's only good for 86 in the FBS. So Ohio State has a lot more yards per game in the 2020 season, and that is going to go directly into our second comparison, points per game. Ohio State is putting up 46.3 points per game. That's good for 4th. Indiana, though, is only putting up 33.8 points per game, 33rd. And, not taking anything away from Indiana. They are ranked 9th. Another high top 10 team. It's going to be a really good game, in my opinion. But Ohio State, look, Justin Fields has 87% completion percentage. Michael Penix Jr., Indiana's quarterback, has only around a 60% completion percentage, and I think that offense really translate into these yards per game and these points per game for sure. Kevin, what do the defensive stats look like?
We mentioned their offense's ability, and yeah, they're all right, but the reason why they're number 9 is right here, and their defense, but more importantly, what they do in the red zone. Incredible metric here. You look at opponent red zone scoring percentage. So Ohio State, 91%, good for 106 in the FBS. That's not too great, but Indiana, 44%, second in the FBS. So what this means is when an opponent gets into the red zone, they are getting either a touchdown or a field goal only 44% of the time against Indiana's defense. That's incredible. And people wonder, how does that happen? Yeah, sure, missed field goals happen and some things like that, and maybe they'll get a few sacks to push them out of field goal range. But this is how it happens. It's takeaways. And you look at Indiana's takeaways here, 3.03 takeaways per game. Second in the FBS, and that's incredible. Ohio State 1.7, 47th in the FBS. That's not bad. They're getting the ball back a little bit. You want them to be a little bit higher, but you'll take that. But this is what's interesting. Ohio State has seen teams this year with a high takeaway per game margin, and it has not affected them. Ohio State 11th in the FBS in giveaways with 0.7 per game. So they're not even giving the ball away at least once per game. So that's really important to look at. But as we talk about takeaways and Justin Fields, it kind of leads into our next fact or fiction here about Justin Fields, 300 passing yards. So though he doesn't give the ball away a lot, Curtis, against this Indiana defense that gives up, I believe, 209 yards of passing offense per game, 300 is a good number there, but fact or fiction?
Well, Justin Fields is averaging 302 passing yards per game. And Indiana is actually only giving up 204 passing yards per game. So really tough defense, and Indiana's defense loves to blitz. But because they love to blitz, I think that Ohio State's offense is going to game plan for this. They're going to get the ball out of Justin Fields' hands quick. And I think that those quick shots, getting the ball out fast, that's really going to help Justin Fields. And listen, Justin Fields has passed the ball 83 times. Like I said before, 87% completion percentage. He has 11 incompletions on the year and 11 touchdowns on the year. We've seen some great quarterbacks go through Ohio State. Terrell Pryor, Braxton Miller, Dwayne Haskins, Cardell Jones. But I'm going to say it, I don't think we've ever had a quarterback like Justin Fields. I don't think we've ever seen a quarterback like Justin Fields. So for that reason, I am going to go fact. I think Justin Fields will have over 300 passing yards on Saturday. So Kevin, this leads to your fact or fiction question. Indiana wins the turnover margin. What do you think?
So I think that's a really fascinating question here, and hence why we picked it. But you saw Indiana 3.0 takeaways per game, Ohio State 0.7 giveaways per game. So you wonder, how is that going to fare? So I'm actually going to go fiction for this. I am going to go fiction. So what I think is going to happen is Ohio State's going to get 1 or 2 turnovers of their own, and I don't think they're going to give the ball away at all. As you mentioned, Justin Fields' ability to protect the football as a quarterback is phenomenal. So where are the turnovers going to come from? Maybe a fumble here and there, maybe a strip sack. So what it comes down to is protecting Justin Fields of the offensive line, and as the running backs, Master T, Trey Sermon, all the wide receivers, just protect the ball when you're running, and you won't turn the ball over because Justin Fields is going to do his part on his end, not giving the ball away to the other team. So I'm going to go fiction with that one.
Yeah, well, with Indiana's defense, protecting the ball is a lot easier said than done some of the time. And that's going to do it for us for the Lantern Sports Preview Show. Make sure you look out for us after the game on Saturday for the after show. That's Kevin Lapka. I'm Curtis Grube, and we'll see you next week.